The Holy Panchayat by Premchand. Premchand is the pseudonym of Ganpat Rai Srivatsav, and he is regarded as one of the pioneers of Hindi and Urdu writers of the early 20th century. He was one of the earliest authors to discuss caste hierarchies, the plights of women and labourers prevalent in the society of late 1880s in his writings. The story Panch Parameshwar, written by Premchand, is translated as Holy Panchayat by Rashmi Sehgal, and it was first published in 1916. Written during the First World War when India was under the colonial rule, the author envisages the village community to provide an alternative to the colonial system of governance. With the skillful use of the divine dimension of justice, the story establishes the fact that righteousness is the core of governance and justice, where personal choices do not color the vision of the person giving justice. Juman Sheikh and Algu Chowdhury were good friends. They did all their business together and trusted each other. When Juman went to Hajj, he left everything in the care of Algu. If Algu left the village, he always left his home to Juman. This friendship had formed when both were kids. Juman's father, Jumrati, was a teacher and he taught both the kids. But Algu always served his teacher. He would even take off from the school for half an hour to fill the hookah of his master. While Algu's father believed that teachers' blessings are more effective than books, Jumrati believed in the power of his stick. Juman had an old aunt who had some property but no close relatives. Juman made her many promises and took good care of the aunt. He gave her good food and clothing and talked to her politely from time to time. But once the land was transferred to Juman, all the kindness to the old aunt ended at once. Now the old aunt was served dry chapati with a curry of bitter words and scolding by Kariman. Juman also turned cruel, and volley of angry words were thrown on the old aunt every day. Juman used to say, "The money that I have thrown into her tummy would have bought me the whole village." When aunt complained of her mistreatment, Juman did not pay any heed. So the old aunt said, "Son, it is not for me to stay with you. Send me some money and I will cook my own food." And Juman angrily said, "Do you think we grow money over there?" It compelled the aunt to appeal to Panchayat, and she went door to door requesting people to come to Panchayat and listen to her grievance. Even it was not easy for her to take a single step, but a problem had come up which needed to be solved. She wept before everyone she met. Some scolded her, some sympathized with her, and some made fun of her. At the end, she met Algu and said, "Son, you too must come for a while." Algu replied that he does not want to spoil his friendship with Juman. And old aunt responded, "Will you turn your back from justice with a fear of spoiling your friendship?" The Panchayat gathered in the evening under a tree. Juman had made all the arrangements, spread carpets, arranged betel leaves, cloves, hookah and tobacco. He was greeting and welcoming everyone. When Panchayat sat down, old aunt narrated her unfortunate story that 3 years back she wrote her property in the name of her nephew and he agreed to feed and clothe her properly. She said that she is neither given enough food nor clothes and she has been made to cry day and night. The old aunt says that since she cannot go to the court, her only hope is the Panchayat. Thereupon, when Juman refuses to choose Sarpanch, aunt chooses Algu Chowdhury. After the Panchayat hear the whole story, it gives its judgment that the aunt be paid a monthly maintenance. The Panchayat said that the income from the land is enough, and if Juman does not pay the maintenance, the deed ends there and the land has to be returned to the old aunt. Juman considered Algu's decision a treachery and betrayal, and their friendship faced a big blow. After that, they were not seen speaking to each other at all. A year back, Algu had bought a pair of healthy oxen from Batesar. The oxen were such beautiful with long horns that people for months came to get a sight of them. Suddenly, within a month of Panchayat, one of the oxen died. Juman said it was the payback of betrayal. Algu suspected Juman of poisoning the ox. Even once, wives of Algu and Juman had a heated argument. The only ox left with Algu was of no use, and he searched for a matching ox which was never found. The village cart driver Samju Sahu would take ghee and gur from village and trade it for salt and oil. He thought that if he can get Algu's ox, it would be easy to make 3 trips to the market. He took the ox on trial and promised to pay in a month. Samju Sahu made the ox overwork. It started to make 3 or even 4 rounds to the market. The animal was not fed properly, but only some dry straw. The ox grew weak, hardly taking steps properly. One day, Samju Sahu doubled the load on ox, and it was the 4th trip of the day. The legs of the ox failed to move further, and Sahu kept beating the animal. The ox tried to move but fell down lifeless. It had breathed its last. Samju Sahu kicked and crushed the animal, but it could not come back to life. It was evening, and Samju was away from the village. Nobody heard his calls and cries. The cart was loaded with salt and oil, and he had some money with him. So he decided to stay with the cart all night. He smoked tobacco, sang songs, and was trying to keep awake, but he fell asleep and got up in the morning. When he got up, his oil and salt was gone along with his money. He reached home crying, and upon hearing him, his wife also started crying, cursing Algu for the luckless animal. Then even after months, Samju Sahu was not ready to pay the amount for the ox. Instead, he and his wife would howl like dogs on Algu. One day, Algu also got angry, and argument turned violent after his wife also joined the fight. The villagers gathered, and everyone said that the matter should be taken to the Panchayat. The Panchayat sat under the same tree. Algu Chaudhry was asked to select the Panch. He humbly said, "Let Samju Sahu decide." Samju announced Juman's name. It made Algu very uncomfortable. Panchayat started, and both the parties were heard. Everyone seemed to agree that Samju should pay for the ox, but at the same time wanted to excuse the payment since the animal has died. Some Panch members wanted to impose a fine on Samju for treating the animal badly. Finally, Juman came up with a judgment. He announced that Samju Sahu will pay for the ox in full. When the ox was bought, it was healthy. Had Samju paid at that time, this situation would not have risen. Algu Chaudhry clamored in happiness, "Long live the Holy Panchayat." Juman and Algu hugged each other. Juman said that, "Now I realize that Panch is neither anyone's friend nor enemy, and nothing but justice makes sense to him now."